Good morning and happy Friday, traders. It's 8:02 a.m. Friday, the 22nd of October, 2021. This is episode number 2100, 2100 episodes now on the Trader Bite. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Let me know what the sound comes across like to you. Looking at the conversion trading pre-market summary sheet, we have a mixed market now. It was pushing higher. It looked like it was gapping up, but the overall picture now is that the NQ is weaker than the other indices by quite a bit. Snapchat and other releases yesterday caused a big drop after the cash close yesterday, and the Nasdaq has not recovered from that completely. The S&P is back at its VWAP mid. We'll look at that in a little bit. Overall, a mixed market coming into today. You notice we've had mixed markets since the beginning of the rally, since the first day of the rally, the gap up. And it's likely to continue to be a grind. Pre-market earnings this morning, some key figures out of American Express, Honeywell, HCA Healthcare, Schlumberger, and VF. American Express, which is a major component of the Dow, is up 26% on its earnings versus estimates, $2.27 versus $1.80. Notice that these credit card companies and some of the financial firms have been really hitting it out of the park. And HCA Healthcare beat by 14%, and so on and so forth. So again, continued strong earnings. Overall, the market still has earnings on its mind, inflation in the background, and we saw better labor numbers yesterday. The market responded to that, seeing some relief in the supply chain as well, and that's all being priced in. Currently, the S&P has traded 156,000 contracts, with the inventory being 42% short. 42% short. What this means is that 42% of the volume was traded below yesterday's settlement. So the market is overall looking short 42% in terms of trading. So the range 20.75, which is slightly better than what we've seen the last couple of sessions. Point of control shifted up to 45.38 and a quarter. Again, value continues to be accepted higher as well as price, and that's where we stand. In terms of what was expected yesterday, those of you who attended here heard me talk about how the overnight session was really consolidating lower, and we were breaking slightly higher, so that I was looking for a pullback to push the overnight high, consolidate, and the goal is to get to 40 and a quarter and 34.75. Those are the new all-time highs. The expectation is we're likely to push all-time highs after consolidating. We consolidated the session before, as you could see here, and broke higher, and we were doing the same thing yesterday. So the expectation is that we would break higher right away. So that's what we got. Here's the review segment. So again, the overall, I'm standing, so I have to look down at the broadcast monitor that I'm drawing on, so you'll have to excuse that. So I'm not talking to you directly, but overall, you could see that yesterday's action, again, typical of a rallying market, that rotations, volatility continue to fall off as the market grinds higher. Most of yesterday's session was spent in range in value, actually. of the prior session. So most of yesterday's session was spent right in the value area in here. And you could see that yesterday's value was put in the same spot. So even though price went higher, value is stuck lower. So far we've pushed the point of control higher and higher and higher, and that's good with a rally. We don't want to look. The thing about volume profiling that's really awesome, from the time I found it way back in 2006 or so, 2005. I'm old. Is that you, with price action, you just see where price went, but you don't know how much participation took place within that price. The volume profile of the volume at price shows you how much interest there was. It is a necessary second component. Yes, everybody has histograms underneath their bars. And by the way, volume profile was completely unheard of when I came along and started to convert the what I'd used at the time, market profiling, to volume profiling. But what this is saying is that even though the price action is moving higher, higher highs, higher lows, as everybody kind of wants to talk about, the value area is not. And so the run on the close yesterday is stretching a rubber band, so to speak, because most of yesterday was spent in value. So we really like these prices around the 45.20 or so. We 45.25, 45.28, something like that. 45.25 really. So as we put these, as if we were to profile these two days together and create a composite, you'll see that overall the value has not is quite stable, and is for two sessions is relatively mature. You see that profile? This is a relatively mature profile, very indicative of consolidation, even though it's only been two sessions. And price moving away from here is likely to get attracted back to this area. The point of control, as you see there, is 25. That's the number I was talking about. This, you need to keep that in mind. And so now you know that it made new all-time highs, but we didn't really trade all that much at the all-time high yesterday. And of course, as soon as we reopen, or we didn't reopen, but as soon as the cash closed, we had earnings that just caused this to tumble. To me, this is going to be a key area to monitor today. So we're trading 45.36. We've pushed the overnight high, but overall, we did exactly what was expected yesterday: consolidate, pull back, and then ultimately take out 45 and a quarter, and 34.75 and 40 and a quarter. I said 45, but it's 40 and a quarter, which is the Globex all-time high. So pretty interesting stuff setting up here. It's likely to get pretty choppy today, although we're a little bit out of the balance. So we're trading right up here at 36, which puts us right above where we were all morning yesterday and the high of the prior day. So we're challenging this area right here. So we want to see at the beginning if they become responsive and push through that 32-33 area, which becomes important now. If we push through that 32-33 area, then we are likely to push into 25. And if we push into 25, we're likely to see the other side of value, which is 14.15. That's 10 points between the point of control and value low. But it's a lot more. It's close to 20 points if it fails at the 33. So the trade there is it responds back, comes back into 33. If it fights it and bounces off, and we have an impulse or a wide rotation in that direction, then we're back to buying pullbacks. However, if it goes to 33, breaks through, and then the return above 33 is weak, that we're looking for a short and what I call outside in trading. And so we're looking to trade from the outside back into value at 25. Hang in there, keep a runner on, and see if it'll run through to 15. And that's going to be the trade of the day. So we'll see how it plays out. I can't predict what the market will do in the future, but we know price ran higher, but value got stuck, and that's an important thing to notice about yesterday's action. Okay, so so again, scenario one yesterday, scenario one that I shared with you on this other screen that you saw yesterday was spot on. Yesterday, it was all about getting on the long side yesterday, and just finding the spot. Our job is so interesting because I see a lot of these scalping. People send me stuff, these scalping videos that people do live, and they tell you it's simple, but they're really complicating. Even if it's a Heikinashi, whatever, scalping thing, they're really ignoring the overall context of what the market is looking to do. And it's a lot more comfortable. I think you can scalp into a long position with a long bias, and just lay off of the short side and be very comfortable, in my opinion, in those trades, because the wind will kind of blow in your direction, will blow into your sales and carry your sale forward. This trying to scalp on both sides all the time is a skill. It's very hard to acquire. Remember, I'm speaking from experience. This is something that I started my career in, doing a couple thousand round turns a day, trading for myself. And it's not sustainable. So understanding the context and how the auction is going, and then scalping from that direction if you want to scalp, or day trading from that direction, or day trading but entering on scalps, I believe is the way to go. I'm not saying that that's the holy grail and so on. I'm just saying it's a less costly, more comfortable way to trade, in my opinion. So here's what we've done since. We sold off pretty good, as I said, on right after the cash close, and we based back. We came right back in towards that 25, that point of control in the overnight session. The low in the overnight session is 27.25, very close to that 25, and then we have drifted up pretty good, and then just now we have sold off. I was just commenting in the head trader channel at Convergent Trading that there's a potential we might open up in a gap, which is a surprise to me. I would have been surprised if we opened up in a gap, because of the reasons I just mentioned in the prior screen about value not moving up and the overlap taking place. And so to me, this coming back to the point of control, which we were tangled in the VWAP, full session VWAP, full session mid just a minute ago, coming back into the point of control supports the hypothesis, or supports the idea that we are likely to fall back into the major value, which is below the overnight low. So I think the overnight stat this morning is going to be taken on the low side. In other words, the overnight low is likely to be taken out more so than the overnight high to get that 97%, 96%, 98%, whatever statistic that in the day session we're likely to touch the overnight high or the overnight low. Today I'm expecting that touch to be on the 27 quarter side. So that's a lot to digest there. I do suggest you come back and listen to that segment a little bit, because I'm really telling you how this thing how the inner workings of this clock kind of operate. It doesn't mean that you'll be profitable just because you know it, because at the end of the day, you have to execute and you have to manage risk based. You have to execute based on good risk, a good R factor. But this is how you create a plan for the day. And this is how bigger traders do it. back in, for those of you who attended the webcast yesterday with Anthony Cordelli, I strongly suggest you seek that out. Look for it on my Twitter feed. If you're registered, you'll get a copy of the recording, or already should have. And just listen to what he says about how big traders used to prepare in the pit. It's the same thing. Getting your levels, getting your map in place, knowing your areas, being focused, and then when you get into the pit, you just focus on executing against that plan, and that's how it works. And so a lot of people made a lot of money doing that, in my opinion. So that's where we stand currently. We're right at the overnight point of control at 36. We just tagged the 33 below, and we're opening right in the crucial area here. I'm looking for this to make an attempt higher because the overnight inventory is short by about 45%. Looking for it to balance to the upside, and then I'm looking for the short side to bring us back to 25, potentially 15. That's the key plan for today. Looking at the overview, just so we can keep track of what's going on everywhere else. Remember, actually Edge Pro X has the anchored VWAP, but I have not bothered to go back and anchor the swing low and so on. So I'm just using a VWAP, a monthly VWAP that starts at the beginning of the month. And so you look at how we have separation between price and the VWAP. This is another thing that leads me to conclude that we may be able to favor the short side a little bit better today. We'll see. I may be proven wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong. You can see that crude, the VWAP is very quickly catching up with crude. Gold is really taken off. So is silver. And then the treasuries have really separated, and so there's pressure. There's a higher yield pressure there that the market is not accounting for. At some point, the market will start looking back at these treasuries and starting to respond to the fact that we do have lasting inflation here potentially, and so we may see a response there. And so that's a key thing to know. Let's take a look at what's expected for today. I'm sorry this video is going longer than I want, but there are some important moves there to be had. So setting up the chart, stock zones, and master levels turned on. So we're at new all-time high territory. You'll notice on my chart, that I've got these things called MMs, measured moves. At new all-time highs, we don't have a prior auction to reference. We don't have prior volume profiles or market profiles or an existing fight to reference. One second. To reference, so I project fib extensions for targets, and those, so in case you're wondering how you get levels above the all-time high, these are just replications of the measured moves. These are fib extensions, confluences of fib extensions on swings on the 60, 240, daily, weekly, and then they're projected forward. If it's a standalone measured move, then it's MM. If it's a confluence, then it'll say MM various, and it'll be thicker. If like a bunch of measured moves come together within a range, I'll put a thicker bar to highlight that. It just helps map areas that I don't have any reference on. So coming into this morning, the expectation, open auction, we are back in yesterday's range. I'm looking for this thing to try to push higher, and then I'm looking for it to fail to do so. Pull back to the 32.33 right here, 32.33. It's a lot smaller screen or resolution, so it's harder to write on. 32.33, and then I'm looking for a short back into through the overnight low at 27.25, and I'm looking for it to push right back into 25, which is right here. 25 is the MC point of control in this region. Looking for it to push into the 25, potentially the 22, consolidate up here, and then likely to push into the 14 below that. So I'm looking for the 14 right in here, 14. This is the value area low area, okay? And then for a bounce into the close. Given how far we've run this week, it wouldn't surprise me for some profits to be taken off the table on Friday into the weekend. It's not a long weekend or anything, but it wouldn't surprise me that that would happen. The secondary is an open auction that pushes the 32.33 early, attempts to move back into value, but there's too much pressure to buy again, consolidate, and then now we're on for the squeeze to 45 to the 45.50, the mid-century figure. Take out the overnight high, push to the 50, consolidate, and then later in the session, I'm expecting selling to come in to bring us back right to where we open. So pretty good selling into the close. New high, new all-time high back into the 50, expecting some significant resistance in the 50. We've seen that in this new all-time high territory. The 00, 25, 50, 75, and century figures get a lot of reactions, which makes sense because these are major option strikes, and there's a lot of activity that occurs around those prices. You'll see a lot of volume on the offer, block trades, things like that. Hopefully you learned something today. I really hope so. Please remember to hit the like button. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, to the Future Trader 71 channel before you leave. And also, this fundraiser has kind of stalled. We reached our target at 2,500, but people have been so generous. We've pushed through by $1,000. I'd love to see this get to $5,000. It is going to run for another week or so. It ends on the 31st of October. Will you help me get this to 5,000? I plan to make a pretty decent sized donation myself because St. Jude's is just incredible in that it helps kids with cancer get treatment without bankrupting their families. If you have a child, this should strike a chord with you. Give as little as $5 or as much as you can for this charity. It is that time of year, and it's just, if you've been doing well in this rally, peel off some of those profits and stick them in a donation. It brings good karma. All right. Good luck, and I'll catch you on Monday. Take care, everyone.